Namaste. Namaste. The God in me greets the God in you. As always, it was most appropriate that Barbara Martin led off today's, in fact, not only with the first song, but when she started playing the music, it was Let It Be by the Beatles. And I remember when those words came in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me with words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. And today, those words are a foreshadowing of the talk I'm going to give on Mother's Day. I'm dedicating this talk to my own mother and to her mother, and to all mothers and to the mother energy itself in this universe of ours that has been so imbalanced since the beginning of time. The very reason Martha and I are in Tucson, there are many, and of course there are always details, is my mother told me that when she died, she wanted to be buried next to her mother. Her mother was buried here in Tucson, in Evergreen Cemetery. And so when my mother passed away in Turkey on a trip, Martha and I remembered that promise and eventually brought her ashes here back to Tucson to be buried at the feet of her mother, as were her wishes. My grandmother, my mother's mother, I knew her only for a very short period of time. She lived in the Armory district here in Tucson, and she had a store on 4th Street, Tom's Market. Appropriately enough, the very location of that store is a hippie psychedelic shop selling tie-dye t-shirts and bongs. So it is that consciousness and reality knows where it's headed. At the time, and I'm sure that my mother and grandmother are here, as all of yours are. We are one in spirit. And we are here today, not only on Mother's Day, but on the cusp of the Age of Aquarius. It is an age of which first came into the popular consciousness in the 1960s in the Haight-Ashbury. I was there. I lived on Haight Street. I had gone to San Francisco to go to Bolt's, not to go to Hastings College of the Law. That year I took acid in October, quit going to class, and the next year I was running the food concessions at the Avalon Ballroom. Janis Joplin, the Grateful Dead, Quicksilver Messenger Service. Truly, the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. What it meant then, we didn't know. Even those of us who were there, we were only there. We did not know. And yet the popularization of the Age of Aquarius and the stage show Hair, and in the media itself, was a foretelling of what was to come. What was to come, we did not know. But a hint of it was given in all the esoteric material that was then flowing through the Haight-Ashbury. Alice A. Bailey, Theosophy, Esoteric Astrology, Edgar Cayce, Dane Rudyard. These were words familiar to us, to those of us who were shoved out of the boat of the collective consciousness in America at the time, and found ourselves swimming in an ocean and a water we did not even suspect. What I remember from that time, one of the things, there was that little statement, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there. Due to the obliterating effects of lysergic acid diethylamide. One of the gifts of God to those who needed it. I was one of those. born an Aquarian, an air sign, born Chinese, a culture that I used to joke there was no symbol for the word emotion. That's only a joke. And polarized to the mental side of my consciousness. That's where I lived for much of my life until I took that drug that entered me into the portal of what is really true. But that only opened the door. I was meant to go further. And that's what the 10-year prison sentence was supposed to do 20 years later. It was there, I wrote later in my book, that I was to discover my emotions in a prison I shared with it. The emotions are the yin energy, the feminine energy. The thought, rational thinking, is the polarized male polarity. And the judgment on this planet between the two can be seen in whether you call a person emotional or rational. Let me tell you, there are dangers to each. Though we have been through a polarized reality, it was intended to be so. During that prison sentence, these words came to me. Will a future that never happens determine what we do today? Will a past that ever lingers be the reason we feel this way? The future is a thought pattern projected by our minds, trying to control the moment or to escape it. And the emotions are a drag trying to pull us away from the moment into the past, which is gone. It was there that I discovered the real meaning of the Age of Aquarius. One of the things that happened to me, I was privy to a series of books that were channeled. 7 came in total. My prison sentence lasted for 7 years. If you're going to consider being held after school, this was the ultimate being held after school. And those books led me into realms that I never would have entered on my own. They were never registered with the Library of Congress. And they showed me a world of balance between the feminine and the male that I did not know existed. But what they told me, I was never to forget, because they coincided with the predictions of Edgar Cayce, that extraordinary psychic who said the earth changes were going to come. These were words I never forgot from the 1960s. And so in the mid-1980s, as I reread these words in another book that basically reaffirmed the intense earth changes that were coming, the earthquakes, the sliding of Japan into the sea, and they even ended with, had these words in it. There will be a time coming soon when it will appear to you that most people on earth are dying. This crisis is not judgmental, as many fear. It, however, is a cleansing. For the Creator is moving to cleanse the earth and return it to the place where it was meant to be. A place of love. A place meant as a gift to the mother. This is Mother's Day. My mother's name was May. This is May. And when Betty said that last week, I thought, the mother energy. I have been gifted with the protection and the love of this mother energy as few others have been. And let me tell you, it is in the relationship of the mother energy that aspects of it can be most appreciated. And I stand before you as one who knows the gift of the mother, as only I do. Those words foretelling a time of intense physical change and crises on this planet never left me after the 1980s. And in fact, when I was there, I wrote these words, which I want to read to you now. about the mother energy coming back into rebalance. As I said before, the yin energy, the feminine energy, manifests to us as feelings. And we are holding within us feelings that we have repressed from the beginning of creation. There is not a judgment against this for holding those feelings. For when the creation came into being, it was a moment of intense crises, fear, terror, and rage, polarized into the male and female polarities. They have never left us. The earth changes are designed to finally release those energies and to bring the physical plane into balance, which it has never been. Ushering in the Age of Aquarius, an age of love, joy, abundance, that has only been a dream to those of us here on the earth plane. These are the words that I wrote. Life hurts deep inside us, closed off and far away. It seems there's nothing we can do. It seems there's nothing we can say. Questions are unanswered. Doubts and fears abound. Everyone is paralyzed. No one makes a sound. People acting normal, hoping fear will leave. People dying everywhere. Life is like a sieve. Couples holding on to each other for dear life, holding on so tightly, they drain each other's life. Afraid of letting go, afraid of being alone, trying different churches, trying being stoned. The pain is growing larger, asking to be felt, so check the cards you're holding and watch what's being dealt. For we can't avoid forever our feelings deep inside. There's nowhere we can go. There's nowhere we can hide. Life hurts deep inside us, closed off and far away. It seems there's nothing we can do. It seems there's nothing we can say. The winds will soon be blowing through everybody's life, changes and upheaval, cutting like a knife through the walls that we've erected around the pain that's deep inside, releasing now forever the hurts we've tried to hide. But after we have felt the hurts that are so deep, at long, long last we'll heal, and no longer will we weep. For underneath the pain that's been frozen for too long, God's hand is reaching towards us. For to God we do belong. Those words were written in the late 1980s, and they are more timely today than they were then. Last month, I came across a channeling by someone I had never heard of before, Peter Dunov, a Bulgarian mystic who died in 1944. And before he died, he channeled in a mediumistic trance these following words, of which some I will read to you. He made an extraordinary prophecy in regards to our troubled epoch that we're crossing today. A prophecy about the, quote, end of time, unquote, and the coming of a new golden age of humanity. An age that we now call the Age of Aquarius. Here is this deeply moving testament. It is current and so vibrant that one doubts that these words were spoken 60 years ago. I only ran across these words in the last 2 months. Quote, during the passage of time, the consciousness of man traversed a very long period of obscurity. This phase, which we call, the Hindus call Kali Yuga, is on the verge of ending. We find ourselves today at the frontier between two epochs, that of the Kali Yuga and that of the new era which we are entering. A gradual improvement is already occurring in the thoughts, sentiments, and acts of humans, but everybody will soon be subjugated to divine fire that will purify and prepare them in regards to the new era. Thus man will raise himself to a superior degree of consciousness, indispensable to his entrance into the new life. That is what one understands by ascension. Some decades will pass before this fire comes that will transform the world by bringing it a new moral. This immense wave comes from cosmic space and will inundate the entire earth. All those that attempt to oppose it will be carried off and transferred elsewhere. I want to make a note of it. Those words that I read in the 1950s that spoke of this coming shift said that very same thing. Although the inhabitants of this planet do not find themselves at the same degree of evolution, the new wave will be felt by each one of us. And this transformation will not only touch the earth, but the ensemble of the entire cosmos. The best and only thing that man can now do is to turn towards God and improve himself consciously, to elevate his vibratory level, and so as to find himself with a powerful wave that will soon submerge him. In the book that I read in the 1980s, it is said all those who are not able to have their consciousness at the new level will no longer be here on the earth. They will be taken to other planets and other planes where they will learn the lessons that they still need to learn to move into this new consciousness. And it said then, to you, those places they may be going may appear to be hell and full of conflict. But I want to tell you, to them, it may seem like heaven. For that is what they ask for, that is what they seek, and that is what they need to learn. The fire of which I speak of accompanies the new conditions offered to our planet, will rejuvenate, purify, and reconstruct everything. Matter will be refined, your hearts will be liberated from anguish, troubles, incertitude, they will become luminous. Everything will be improved, elevated. The thoughts, sentiments, and negative acts will be consumed and destroyed. Everything that is around you will soon collapse and disappear. Nothing will be left of this civilization, nor of its perversity. The entire earth will be shaken, and no trace will be left of this erroneous culture that maintains men under the yoke of ignorance. Earthquakes are not only mechanical phenomena, their goal is to also awaken the intellect and hearts of humans so that they liberate themselves from their errors and their follies, and that they understand they are not the only ones in the universe. The earth, the solar system, the universe are all being put in a new direction under the impulsion of love. Most of you still consider love as a derisory force, weak. But in reality, it is the greatest of all forces. Money and power continue to be venerated as if the course of your life depended on it. In the future, all will be subjugated to love, and all will serve it. But it is through suffering and difficulties that consciousness of man will be awakened. Thanks to the idea of love and fraternity, the earth will become a blessed place, and that will not wait. But before it does come, great sufferings will be sent to awaken the consciousness. Sins accumulated for thousands of years must be redeemed. The ardent wave emanating from on high will contribute in liquidating the karma of peoples. The liberation can no longer be postponed. Humanity must prepare itself for the great trials that are inescapable and are coming to bring an end to egoism. Under the earth, something extraordinary is preparing itself. A revolution that is grandiose and completely inconceivable will manifest itself soon in nature. God has decided to redress the earth, and he will do it. It is the end of an epoch. A new order will substitute the old, an order in which love will reign on earth. In 2014, we are far closer to those words that were channeled to Peter Dunoff in 1944. He said, decades will pass before this will happen. I want to tell you today, and so they have. And a reminder about the timeliness of why we are here today, I want to read something that was given to me last month by Alan. He and Alanita were at one of Christine Fassetti's trance circles. Martha and I were not there. And a couple weeks after it, Alan came up to me and said, Daryl, I want to give you this. He said, my teachers came to me at the trance circle, and from that message I knew it was not just for me. And this morning Alan told me it was very curious because he's tried to take notes at trance circles before, and he scratches things out, his hand goes all over the piece of paper because it does happen in the dark. And he said this time his handwriting was clear and legible and double-spaced, as if by design. I want to read you what he gave me 2 weeks ago. Notes from my portion of April 11th, 2014 Trance Circle. I asked Blue Crystal Lily, that's Christine Fassetti's guide, if I could meet my master teacher. In response, here are the spiritual beings that came in and what they said that I was able to write down. It soon became apparent that most of their comments were not meant solely for me, but to be communicated to those of us comprising the group's soul. I shared these comments at the Ashtar Command meeting on April 12th. I want you to listen to these words in light of what I have just told you. First to come in, Lord Morpheus. I am that I am. I am Lord Morpheus. Your master teacher works under me. You are many, but one. You have opened the door. We are working with you individually. You are a group of world servers. There have been many changes in the world, but you are still here. I want to make a note that in the channelings, in the words that I received in the mid-1980s, it told of these times, and it said, if you wish to leave, ask me. I will raise you from the earth during these times. So when I read those words to Alan, many have decided to leave, but you are still here. It resonated deeply with what I heard many, many years ago. It goes on. It is important for you to meet as a group. By so doing, you're sending radiations of energy anchored to the earth plane. You are light workers. Your assignment, be, love, to be loved, to love others. Raise your vibration by loving and helping others. As your environment becomes more turbulent, it is important not to get distracted. Be still. Lord Morpheus departs the trance circle. Who came in next was Master Thomas. In Alan's words, he comes in and reveals himself to be my master teacher. He says, I was once doubting Thomas, but we don't doubt anymore, do we? Master Thomas continues the message Lord Morpheus was delivering. This is your anchor, Tucson, but you can travel. Some of you will travel, hello Betty. Others will stay, others will bilocate. Go within, ask for help as to your role. You are all part of the great creation in southern Arizona. This will be created in the physical plane in your lifetime in Sierra Vista. Betty was told in 1979 that the founding of the temple, one of the 4 temples on the planet, was to happen in Sierra Vista. You are in a schoolroom. You are preparing to be healers and teachers. Each of you will be taking part. Healing through sound, color, touch, and energy manipulation. What should you do now? Master Thomas departs. Next, coming in to Alan was Master Amos, one of Christine's master teachers. Master Amos said to the group, to us, this is a time for preparation. Be proud of the path that you are on. You are multitasking. On the forefront, inner development. Be a part of a meditation group. Learn the higher teachings. Learn about healing. An important point, submerge yourself in water from time to time, whether in a bathtub, a swimming pool, or in the ocean. Each of you receives much from that kingdom. As the external consciousness worsens, remove yourself from this outside world. Connect to the I am presence. Stay centered. There are many in the lower fields. Use Saint Germain's violet fire to keep yourself clear. Use Archangel Michael's violet fire, blue cloak of protection. Use the violet fire when taking a shower. Envision the violet fire surrounding your body. Master Amos departs. I want to end this with the words that Mother Mary brought to herself earlier. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow. Let it be. Let it be. Speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Namaste. Namaste.